it does make it easy when you work for a company that is so respected in the industry, right? Not only with the partners that we work on the supply chain team, but like you said, our competitors. When we're at trade shows, when we're out in the community, when we're out, just calling on customers, just hearing the responses and the feelings that people have about Polo certainly makes it easy. Right. And I wouldn't want to work for a company that's any different than that.
So welcome to another episode of Inspiring Innovation, and today's guest is Troy Repp, who is a business development manager. Troy, you had a interesting side career at one point or another that I'd like for you to share with our audience today.
So I think what you're referencing, prior to Polo, I was a professional poker player. At my peak in my poker career was probably 2016, 2017. Just started playing at home online, and then had some local casinos that I played at. And at the time, I'd considered it a hobby, but I was spending a lot of money doing it. So I thought, gosh, if I'm going to spend this amount of money, I'm going to make it successful. Start tracking results and start training and reading and studying the game. Had a poker coach, a local poker coach here. Again, at the peak, it was 2016, so that was shortly before Polo.
Yeah.
Did some traveling, got to play in the World Series main event, and did well in that. And so I've had some pretty good results. I guess that's what you're talking about, but yeah.
Yeah, no, that is exactly what I was talking about. I think I still owe you money from a bet because I didn't win a race. And so you were going to teach me how to play poker. And then he actually saw how poorly I play poker when we were in Ireland for a trade show.
That's a great story. We did have an opportunity to play together in a poker room in Ireland. You took my money though.
Oh, okay, yeah,
so I don't know.
So I'm really.
So we were in one of our first hands together. You had pocket aces,
right?
And I flopped 2 pair.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you keep betting into me, and I'm like, hey, we're supposed to be buddies here. We're in Ireland. What are you doing? And I've got you beat. And you just kept betting. And then you end up rivering the last card, getting a better 2 pair than mine.
Yeah.
And I go broke, like one of our very first hands in Ireland playing poker together. I say I go broke. I did buy in for some additional money. But, So yeah, no, you're the pro. You beat me.
I got lucky, and then the lack of skill came in where I squandered that money that I won early on. Yeah. So it was fun though, and it was quite great. The experience. Yeah. And when we were leaving, and the customs people asked to report things, Troy said that yes, I have something to declare, and it was $1 poker chip from Ireland.
That's right.
So
that's right. I do have, and I think I've shared it with our team. I do have a collection of $1 poker chips or $1 chips that if it's a casino that I've played in, I'm sure to save a $1 poker chip. So yeah. So yes, I do have that.
Perfect. Yeah. Well, thanks for entertaining that side conversation. We'll dive into a little bit more about your role. You've been with Polo for about 3 years now. You've been in this role for around a year, and you've been half dedicated to other accounts for the first part of it. So you're really getting rolling into it now. So I'm excited to see where this goes and how much you bring in for Polo and the people that you will connect with through this podcast and through all the work that you're doing already, across the world. So we're glad to have you on today. And I wanted to start with who you think the ideal customer is for Polo Custom Products. What characteristics make them a good fit for us?
I know you and I have talked a lot about it. Ideally, a good prospect or a good customer for Polo I think it starts with an engaged team. We want their team or our customer's team to have a lot of their ducks in the row already. We've got a product development team, and I'm sure we'll talk some about that throughout this conversation today. We want a team that's engaged. We also would like to see them to have established distribution channels already in place. If not already in place, they've got that plan in place.
Yep.
The funding for that distribution, they've got the means to get that product out. Ideally, that probably the most important is that we want them to understand that this is a partnership. It's a relationship that's equal. It's a partnership between our new customer and Polo. So that's probably best sums it up on my side.
Yeah, no, those are good points. And I think ideally we want them to be the top OEMs in the aviation space and the medical space and different safety industries and power sports, industrial types of industries that we've served for 75 years. And so I definitely agree with you. A lot of those have engaged teams. They've got a good design in place, and we can take our experts within our capabilities and really make those designs manufacturable. And
Agreed.
And that's where we bring a lot of value to our customers. And you don't have to be a target, or a top OEM to work with Polo, but I do think you need to be at a position where you're ready to scale and you've got some large volumes, and that's where we really thrive is supporting, growing demand. We've got ample capacity with a new plant opened up and lots of import partners and 3 domestic locations. So I think you hit the nail on the head, but
you did a good job of really diving into the details, and that's needed. I also think, that's when I reference that having a distribution channel already in place, that goes along with those top
100%.
OEMs. And so, making sure that they've got a way to get their product out.
Yep.
And so, if you're working with those top OEMs, they've already got those, they've got the sales force and the sales team to push those products to market.
So what makes Polo Custom Products stand out in the eyes of the top OEMs that we do work with?
You referenced this earlier, but Polo's been at this a long time. We've been doing this for more than 75 years. And so we've got the expertise. And so, that stands out. More importantly, though, it's the commitment of our internal sales, our internal teams, not only our sales team, but our teams are committed to our customers. We've got a product development team. We've got a supply chain team. We've got an established sales team. And so that commitment from those internal teams, our quality teams, that commitment is really what I believe makes us stand out. And, the customers that I've worked with in the last 3 years, you can see that commitment within our internal teams. And so that's a big piece of what stands out. Now, throughout this, we'll probably dive in. How do we define that commitment? I think that's a big piece of what makes us stand out.
I'm just going to keep adding to that because I love all these topics. And so this is a lot of fun for me. And I would add too that with, those dedicated teams, they also have been with the company for a long time. And so we've got just incredible leaders across the supply chain, quality, product development teams, an awesome cross-functional team of experts that are training the next generation of manufacturers in our space. And so it's something that I think is unique about Polo is just how much expertise we bring to the table across the industry, and the fact that we do really impart that in future generations too. I mean, we have partnerships with different colleges and we're really trying to get the next generation of manufacturers into the workforce, and we've got a really great and special team in all those areas.
Yeah, I know. I've heard about the partnership that we have with the local universities there in Iowa. We recruit a lot of designers and engineers from those programs, and so not only do we have partners on those teams that have a lot of experience, but we've got the young minds that are the up and coming young minds, and that fresh perspective to the table too. So it's a neat combination of both, all of that experience and plus that kind of that young blood coming up as well.
So how do we ensure that we're bringing real value to the table for our customers?
Measuring that value is important. And so I know in our office, we've got KPIs that are posted. And so, we're measuring against quality performances, on-time delivery performances in the plants. They have those same KPIs that are posted and some that are specific to the production piece of this. But I think that the important way that we're measured as a business development or on a sales side is that we're measured through through our customer supplier scorecards. And so, they're measuring that for us. And so they've got some grading systems, and they're custom. They're different for each customer. But and so it's important for us to sit down with those customers, go through those supplier scorecards with them, let them tell us how we're doing. So that's a second way. But I would tell you a third way is that we do a marketing survey with our customers every year, and where we reach out, we ask for a kind of a performance survey. I know in my previous role as an account manager, it was always nice to see when those surveys went out and your name would come back, and your maybe the buyer that you were working with, they said, Troy does an outstanding job of taking care of me and taking care of our customers. Right. So those are the kind of the three ways I can think that we measure some of that and how important those are.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things that come to mind for me too, and it's like the early bad news is good news, which I think is why your name shows up on those surveys, is because when you were in that role, things come up, especially post-pandemic with supply chain and the world being a little discombobulated. And so when we can come to the table and bring the right people from their team and our teams together to resource a material that was discontinued or whatever we need to do to make sure that their production is not disrupted, I think that's big value in today's crazy economy. But just little things in terms of like in the design process, suggesting a different material or a different method, because we tend to have, and this is not a bad thing, and sometimes when a design comes to us, it's almost overly engineered. And so we might ask why they did this, or can this corner be rounded, or what's the functionality of why it hangs this way, or could you use this? And those types of things can have some real cost savings and make it more manufacturable so that it can scale to high volumes and be supported for the long run. So I think those are some real fun ways that we provide value to the customers with the amazing experience and team that we have and expertise in those capabilities. We're all about working with an engaged team in the development process. Could you share how Polo's teams, whether in supply chain, product development, quality work, how they work together to create a seamless experience for our customers?
I can tell you about a recent visit that I had with a prospect. The first thing that comes to mind, I know one of the things that's important for us to understand in the development phase is timelines. So I don't know if it's the irony of this, but this prospect came to me. I think it was actually, I know it was actually a referral from one of our suppliers.
Nice.
That referred to us and said, "Hey, these are the guys you need to work with." They were traveling across country. They're headquartered in Florida, and they had some visits on the West Coast. And so they had done their research on Polo, and I'd had some conversation with them a little bit prior to really diving into their project. But they said, "Hey, you know what? We're going to be driving through your area in about a week and a half. Is there any way we can come by and do a plant visit? Let me understand your project a little." Right. I mean, you're welcome. Everybody's welcome. We love our team in Monticello, Iowa. They love to give those plant visits, and they're really good about it. But so that it was a quick timeline. But I guess to your question is, how did we bring our teams together for that? The really neat thing was, they had their global supply management team at the meeting. They had their design engineers is on their side, but the folks that we brought to the table, we had our director of quality at the meeting, our product development director was there, our designers, our engineers, we were all sitting at the table during the meeting. So we went through the plant visit. But the cool thing about bringing those experts together is, I don't have to know all the answers, but what I can do is I can bring our team of experts together. And so when they had specific questions about what, can you do this in your quality lab? Or if they had specific material questions, I had the experts right there at the table. And so bringing that entire team together it makes my job easy, right? Because I don't have to be the expert on everything, and I don't have to, I'm not the expert in quality, but I know who the expert is, and I know how to get you to the expert, that type of deal. And so that was a good feeling. So not only did we do it on a short timeline, but we were able to get the entire team together for that.
That's awesome. It's cool to hear that a supplier is recommending a customer, and not all that unique either, right? I mean, we have such great relationships with our suppliers, with even our competitors, and our customers refer us to other customers, and so it's just gratifying that the work that we do, the way that we take care of our customers, our suppliers, the whole ecosystem, that it kind of has a ripple effect and makes your job easier. You got more hot leads of people interested in working with us, and so we just need a couple of you to keep up with it all. But you're doing a great job with it.
It does make it easy when you work for a company that is so respected in the industry, right? Not only with the partners that we work on the supply chain team, but like you said, our competitors, when we're at trade shows, when we're out in the community, when we're out, just calling on customers, just hearing the responses and the feelings that people have about Polo certainly makes it easy.
Right.
And, I wouldn't want to work for a company that's any different than that. So it does make it easy.
Definitely.
It's an easy sale.
Yeah. And it's funny because I think about, like, even, we were with a large medical OEM in Ireland, and they're not necessarily a top 3 customer, but they're a big customer. And we asked if we're on their preferred supplier list, and they said, yeah. And she kind of rolled her eyes like, everyone's asking that question right now, which I thought was funny. But what was interesting to me about that is, like, sometimes we didn't even know that we're already in there. With our top 10, we do a lot of those quarterly business reviews. We know where we stand. We win awards at our supplier conferences and all that kind of stuff. And so it's great to have that gratification, and it's great to kind of hear where we're at. And I think, to your earlier answer of this question that we've taken down the rabbit hole, it just is a real great way to quantify the value that we bring to our customers. Can you tell me about an experience where Polo quoted a project, won the business, and it blossomed into something really special?
Yeah, this is an easy one for me.
But before we get into that, this podcast is brought to you by Polo Custom Products. We are a custom manufacturer that specializes in sewing, sealing, and thermoforming. We work with project engineers, sourcing professionals, and buyers to design, engineer, and manufacture products that cannot afford to fail. If you're interested in working with us, visit our website at www.polocustomproducts.com and fill out a request for quote form. Now, back to the show.
So the key word there for me is blossom into something special. We manufacture a life-saving class. I think it's a class 3 FDA medical device. It's a life-saving device. Again, the piece that makes it special is, some of our marketing term says that, we manufacture products that can't afford to fail. And this is absolutely one of those products. The great partnership that we have with that customer is that they share with us when a life is actually saved by that product that we manufacture. And so not only is it shared internally with our sales team, but we take it a step further, and we share it with that production team. Mm-hmm. We share it with that production line. Kind of the neat symbolism of it all is on that production line, they've got this jar, this plastic or glass jar, I suppose. And when that moment is shared, they've also got these little charms or hearts. Mm-hmm. And so they take that charm and they fill that jar up with the amount of lives saved. And so again, I'm truly getting some goosebumps talking about this, but just to see the impact that has on our production line,
right?
The amount of heart that they put into that product is very rewarding. And so when you say blossom into something special, that's what I think of.
We've done town halls as a company, and we've shared some of the marketing videos of lives that were saved, and we get associates that come up to us and tell us about their husbands or family members that wear this particular product and have some ideas about how we could market it more to different doctors and things like that. And it's like, well, that's that's our customer's role
Right.
and what they're doing. But that level of passion and enthusiasm and partnership is really bleeds through the whole entire company. And it is a really, really special product. Troy, when you look at Polo's most successful customer partnerships, what are some of the common characteristics you see in the relationship?
The first thing that comes to mind is, it's got to be a fair partnership. I think I already said this, we've been at this for more than 75 years. And if we're going to be at it another 75 years, we've got to be profitable, right? We're not just, so it's got to be beneficial on both sides. It's beneficial for Polo, and it's got to be beneficial for our customers, obviously.
Right.
And so that first characteristic is to me is fair. As I think about other possible characteristics that make up a good customer or a good partnership is open communication. You already talked about, bad news early is better than bad news late. If we've got some of those maybe material issues, or materials have been pushed out and they're not going to be here on time or within the timeline that we had quoted or accepted the order, just having that open line of communication to be able to share some of those things. But it's also, I think the partnership has to be flexible. Not only are we might run into some issues as a supplier, as a manufacturer, but our customers run into issues as well. So they may ask us to pull in an order. Is there any way you can ship it early? And and having that, not only that internal communication within our production teams and going to our production schedulers and saying, hey, I need a huge favor. My customer needs this. That flexibility's got to be on their side too, on our customer side. And so looking for that, fair, balanced, flexible, I would say that is a true measure of a good partnership with our customers.
You talking about pulling orders in had me thinking about if our customers could just forecast demand in an accurate way, how beautiful the world would be, but it definitely doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
We got to have the milk on the shelf, but we definitely that the demand for milk might fluctuate, but that's what our team's really good at responding to as well, and really taking care of those fluctuations and really, I mean, we have a customer that we've talked about this outside of the podcast before, but they had 3 tiers for some of their different suppliers, and it was like a launch, scale, and legacy. And so for them, we were the scale, know, and I think that's something I'm going to make a pitch for you, essentially, which is like when potential customers out there are having issues with manufacturers that they they're legacy suppliers, but maybe they've had labor issues and they can't hire any more than they're at max capacity. We can take care of that scale. That is something that we are skilled at. It is something that large companies are looking at us to do, and we're delivering on. And so we can go up and down. I mean, obviously we love going up as a sales guy, as a business development guy, but we can be that secondary supplier that can help you achieve those fluctuations in demand, and we manage that work well.
We talked about what Polo brings to the table, but I think where you said, hey, I'm going to kind of point this at you, that's absolutely what I think I bring to the table is helping a customer, helping a potential prospect get through some of those pain points. Whether it is we need to scale up this product and our current manufacturer cannot handle this. They've got they don't have the labor, so that's certainly something that, having that established relationship with our prospect, them understanding that we've got that ability. And we've got examples within our history that has shown some of that, that scalability and what we're capable of. We're capable of some pretty amazing stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And to add to that, since we're just making pitches to our audience out there,
some,
right? Yeah. If you think about the nature of the world right now, we went through a presidential election, and there's talks about tariffs and what's interesting. I mean, Polo has manufacturing partners that are based in China. We have partners in Vietnam. We have partners in the Caribbean,
right.
and so we are able to shift production. We have redundancy of our capabilities all around the world according to how it falls. And we've got people with connections into the White House so that we know what's happening as it's happening. Our team is so up to date and always communicating with our sales team about, hey, this is what's coming down the pike. This is how it's going to impact your customers. These are the solutions you can provide to them. So we're in a really great situation when, I mean, honestly, I think a lot of work might shift out of China at some point and potentially towards Vietnam. And we've got partners there. We've got partners that are ready to move there. And we have the Caribbean that I think is hopefully not a big part of the discussion when it comes to imports and tariffs and a lot of the world dynamics, because there's already trade agreements in place there that nobody's been talking about touching when they're talking about potential tariffs on Mexico and things like that are all playing out in real time right now. So Polo is very well positioned if you're talking about shifting production from different places in the world as well.
I know we're kind of talking about possibly moving things out of Southeast Asia, but I think that one of the other characteristics that set us apart is that we've actually got feet on the ground, not only in Southeast Asia. And so it's not just a partnership with another supplier. We've got actual Polo employees there in Southeast Asia, and we've got the ability to do that in Vietnam or into the Caribbean and
30-year relationships too, where we've got lots of volumes with these suppliers, and have for years and years and years. So, and they've been strongly vetted and delivered for many years, and they're a great addition to what we can provide. What are some indicators that tell you an OEM might not be the best match for Polo's services?
My nature is to never say no. And so I don't know if it's my servant quality is I always want to find a solution.
Yes.
I think that's important if you're going to be in sales, you've got to have that quality. But it's important for us we do have limited resources. We do have a labor force that we want to maximize.
Right.
We've got domestic resources that we want to maximize the value of that. And so I think it's important for us to identify early on in a prospecting meeting or a prospect call. It's important for us to know that early on if it's going to be a good match. Time's important to all of us. Not only to Polo is time important, but time's important to our customers or our prospects as well. And so if we can discover that, is it going to be a good match early? To directly answer your question, how do we identify if this is going to be a good match or not? We do, if we are going to maximize those resources, we've got to make sure that customer has the potential to meet some minimums. Again, I want to say yes to everything. It's got to be within our capabilities, obviously. We got smart people on our leadership team that says, hey, Troy, I need this kind of return out of this piece of business. And so or we can move those resources somewhere else and get that type of return. So, we've got to identify that early. And it's important for me to identify it early.
Sure.
Not only for Polo's sake, but also for our potential customers' sake.
A lot of companies, we had to say goodbye to a lot of customers, around the pandemic because unfortunately, it was kind of a set up the line, do the run for what could be their volumes for many years and then tear it down. So our operators didn't have a chance to get efficient at making it. And we can charge you more to do that, or you can find a partner that's specializes in those lower running volumes. So, I do think that the volumes are an important aspect of what Polo does. We want to support long running production that we can get efficient at because we have, 100 customers and we manufacture north of 600 products a year and manufacturing is hard.
Yeah, for sure.
It is difficult work and we're
especially custom,
100%.
Yeah. The custom piece of it.
Yeah. Right? So we want you to have something that's going to be long running that we can get really, really, really efficient and ultimately save money for them in the long run as well. And so I've seen that though in marketing where they're like, who's our customer and who is not our customer. And I think it is important to define and so not always an easy answer for a business development guy to answer, but thanks for doing that well. Yeah. Could you share a success story that demonstrates how Polo's development process has helped OEMs overcome a complex challenge?
This one's exciting. In my previous role, this was one that I was a big part of. And so this customer, it started before my time at Polo, but I want to say it was about 5 years ago, a large medical OEM came to us with a product design. I think the story goes, again, maybe it even came to us on a kind of a napkin sketch type. Their first production order with us was around 3,000 units. In my final days and working with this customer, we were doing more than 6 million units for this customer. Mm-hmm. And so, and that's within 5 years, right? We've got the 3 domestic manufacturing sites. We've got the one in Monticello, Iowa. We've got Louisville, Mississippi, and then we've got the one in Topeka. It went from, doing this product at one of our domestic sites to actually doing it at all 3 of our manufacturing sites. And then in order to get to those types of volumes, we did have to reach out to one of our offshore partners. So we were making this product for this customer at 4 different manufacturing sites. The cool thing is, that risk mitigation, that risk management, if something were to happen at one location, we could pick up volumes at another location. The other neat thing about that partnership is just the cost downs. The savings that we were able to provide to the customer when we did take it to near shore, to the Caribbean. And so that's probably the coolest story I've heard about Polo, is just going from 3,000 units in year 1 to 6 million units in year 5. I think you even had talked a lot about an executive from that customer reached out to you and had a really good compliment about, it was the largest, I don't know, you referred to it a lot.
Company with $20 billion in revenue, and they said this was the fastest growing product in their company's history. And we were able to keep it off a backlog for them. Yeah. And that was actually almost constrained by their approvals to keep them off a backlog, but they've kind of moved heaven and earth to make it all happen. So, and get those approvals across the line. And we were able to really meet their blow up in demand for this product, and it was a complex piece of business and a complex product, and just our engineers did a fantastic job making it as efficient as possible, and then growing it and mitigating the risk across 4 different plants, like you said.
Yeah. What an exciting and like a high five for Polo to be part of something so big, and to be a partner with a company that size and to have that sort of compliment. So it says a lot about who we are. Yeah,
100%. Working on projects like that all the time, and we've got the capacity ready to go with additional options being explored constantly. That's always part of the evaluation process for Polo and part of the strategy. And our 3rd plant is still got capacity to grow and is growing. And so great time to be at Polo in our 75-year history, like you said, and great people to work with. So Troy, I'm going to ask you the last question of the day, which is what unique value do you bring to Polo Custom Products?
Well, I think I've got to go back to poker. No, I don't. I can bluff.
Poker lessons.
No bluffing. Again, no bluffing. The biggest value I bring is I can bring the strength of our team to the table. We talked a little bit about this earlier, where I don't have to be the expert at everything, but I know we've got the experts within our company. I know who those experts are, and I know how to bring them to the table. If I don't know the answers, I can bring that strength, the strength of Polo, to the table. And so I add that value. I also think about just having a genuine relationship with my customers or my prospects, truly get to know their company, truly get to know the person I'm working with and their pain points. But by knowing those things, we talked about the ability to scale. If they're facing any sort of labor constraints, understanding those needs and understanding those pain points. But, I think you genuinely have to get to know your customers. And so that's a value that I bring. And maybe I'll just finish with this, timely responses. In this industry, what folks are looking for from me is, hey, I just need answers, and I don't need answers tomorrow. I need quick, timely responses. Again, if I don't know the answer, go find the answer and give our customer and our prospect some timely responses. And so I think that's important. So I think those are probably the three top value.
Those are great ones. And manufacturing is an intense industry, and there are hard deadlines. If you're working with the government, if your customer's working with the government, if, the milk's not on the shelf and the salespeople have nothing to sell, then the competitors will be getting in the door and taking shelf space essentially in our hospitals or whatever industry we're talking about. And so I think that communication is incredibly important. I think you build really genuine relationships. And a weird thought came to my head when you were sharing that as one of the things you bring to the table, which was early on when you were working with us. I think there was a customer that you were working through a situation on making sure a delivery was on time essentially. And they were comfortable enough sharing with you that they were praying for you that this would would happen. And so I thought that was pretty impressive because you were like a month or two into the gig, I think, at this point, and it was great that was you were already getting prayed for by a customer.
I think kind of the humor in me too. I think my reply was, "I'll be praying with you," or something.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
So, So it is important. We're all real people, right? And so 100%. Relationship's important to me.
Yeah, 100%. Well, Troy, thanks for coming on the podcast. We really appreciate having you, and you may gain a new following of people that need some coaching at the poker table, and I'll try to make good on some of those bets.
Yeah, you and I will have to have another poker. I need to win that money back.
That sounds good.
But hopefully, I gain more business on the business development side of it than I do poker coaching.
Yeah, that would be good, or we won't be able to play poker together.
Right. Hey, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, thanks for coming, Troy.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Mike.